Hi, Donna here from Blinder Knitting, doing another day of Blind Awareness Month of October. Today I'd talk about canes, our mobility canes. So once you start having mobility issues, you need something to help you, and the first thing usually is a mobility cane. They are such a useful thing, but there is an art to using them, and you do have to be trained. So they have somebody that comes out, usually called a mobility trainer, and they teach you how to use it properly so that you can get the best out of it. I, as you may be aware, have a guide dog, Kenzie, so that's the next step up. Now you have to have been proficient in using a cane for a year before they'll look at you for a guide dog, and for obvious reasons, things like if your dog gets sick or stops working, you've got to have a backup plan, so to speak. Or if there's times when you just can't take your dog and you need your cane. So yeah, the cane is a useful piece of equipment. It actually starts to feel like part of an extension of your hand rather than a separate piece of equipment. I remember the first time I used mine, I was so awkward and so embarrassed. I felt like I had this whopping great thing, flailing around, which I did for some time till I got used to it. But after a while, it becomes, you don't like walking without it because you feel so much safer with it. Of course, the comparison between a cane and a guide dog, and I'm often asked this, is why did you go to a guide dog? Well, using my cane is a bit like scooting along on a scooter, and using my guide dog is a bit like driving in a Rolls Royce. That's kind of how I can explain the difference. The cane is good, it's efficient, it's effective, and it gets me there with some challenges, but the guide dog gets me there a lot smoother, a lot easier, in a much better way. However, the cane is very useful, and if you are not quite there yet, I suggest you do go to it for it. It does feel awkward and embarrassing for a while, but you do get used to that and you'll notice the freedom from it. Before I actually got my official cane, I used my mother's. My mother was legally blind and she's passed away, but I had her cane. And I couldn't even use it in my own town. I just needed to use it somewhere else. So I went over to Australia for a holiday to see my son, and I took that cane with me and used it there, untrained, but still used it to the best of my ability, and then quickly recognised how much easier it was going to make my life and thought, no, I actually have to do this. One of the funny things about having a cane is naming it. So a lot of us blindies name our canes, surprisingly enough. I don't know why, they kind of get a personality. And so some of the names that I have looked at and heard of are things like the Oracle. I love that one. A wise thing it is. Sir Step-a-Lot, quite funny. Seymour, because you certainly do. What's some other ones? Dash. I'm not sure if I like that one. And Rick the Stick is another one I've heard of. So lots and lots. They actually start to gain a bit of a personality, your canes. And I don't know whether it's a psychological thing that helps you sort of have one. And my cane's name is Wanda, and Wanda, I spell it, and it's because when I use my cane I wander here and I wander there, and sometimes I wonder where I am. So everybody knows my cane is Wanda. If I was in a room full of my family and I said, where's Wanda, they would all know that they're looking for my cane. Yeah, so funny names, and they all get an identity. But that's my little chat about being blind in Blind Awareness Month. I hope you're having a great day, and for all of those that are following, yes, I am feeling a little better after my fall. I'm sore and bruised, but much better. Anyway, chat to you next time. Bye.